Good with it, Lucky Lefty podcast. Onora Boys in the building, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. If you drink, by all means, make sure you do so.
Responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Audio Edibles each and every day. Go check it out. Man, we dropping nothing but great creative content all the time. 2 shows a day over there, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Patreon coming up January 29th. Exclusive interviews, coverage of the spring practices from myself, audio and video. Man, lock in, prepare for it. Multi-levels for you to subscribe to. Left is going to give you all types of film breakdowns, daily takes. Connects through LuckyLeftyPod.com. We're going to start writing articles and things of that nature, man. Just expanding the business along with the merch coming soon.
That's right. Fleece jackets on the come up now.
That cat left wants the fleece zip up. Is it the zip up or the button up?
Fleece button ups are here 2024, man. Get yours today.
I'm not mad at it, dude. I'm not mad at it. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. We spin it different. Today we're going to talk Notre Dame identity, Left. Notre Dame identity. And I guess we can get right to it. What is the identity of Notre Dame, and what does the identity of Notre Dame football need to be going into 2024? That's the LL question of the day. And the poll question is up at the YouTube channel. Right, go to Lucky Lefty Podcast, subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Heck, even if you hit the thumbs down, just participate. But the thumbs up, it helps us out tremendously. You know, we don't always have to agree on what we're saying, but you know, if you come back, we must be doing something right. So go vote. Right. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Poll question of the day. What does the identity of Notre Dame football need to be? What does it need to be? The trenches, the quarterback, offense, defense, or other. Go vote right now. Let us know what you think. We'll talk about those results tomorrow.
How's that snow holding up over there, man?
It hasn't snowed since Saturday night, Left.
Damn. And it's still bad.
Yeah, you know, it's just typical. It's going to be below zero or near below zero until next Monday, where we'll get back up into the 30s and 40s.
See, I thought 46 today was a little cold, man. I had to put 2 jackets on.
Yeah, man. It's so funny because my daughter laughs. Like she said, she was on campus with like a t-shirt yesterday.
Yeah, because it's crazy. It'll be 46 in the morning. It'll be around 65, 70 in the midday.
Mm-hmm.
You'll mess around, think you about to go to the pool or something.
But yeah, schools are closed, I think, for the week up here in Chicago. At least the public schools. The week? Virtual learning at the crib.
See, that's a opportunity I was taken upon, not actual needed to be snowed in. Because my school growing up, they used to be hard even on snow days. They'd be like, it's snowing all bad, but hey, you can still get here. It was all determined based on the bus system. If the bus couldn't go, that's how everybody got off school.
I know public school teachers are all for it. I know that. Even though they have to teach for 3 hours at home, they're done at noon. So it is what it is, man.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Let's get to it, Left. Identity. So we're going to look at this. Let's discuss what Notre Dame's identity is current. Like, what do you feel Notre Dame's identity in the football program is current?
What I think the state of the program is currently is in its preheat the oven phase. You know how you're supposed to preheat the oven to 425 before you pop them pizza rolls in? See, my lady, she likes to put the pizza rolls in the oven as it's preheating.
I got respect for that, love. No, so understand.
Oh,
It's
really?
a
Because I'm telling
difference.
her every time I'm
Yeah,
saying preheat, you got to let it get to 425 first.
but I'm saying at least you're using the oven rather than the microwave. That's the
That's right.
respect I have.
That's right. That's right. Because I don't understand how you microwave pizza rolls and it be the same. It's
No,
a whole different form of
different.
a pizza roll. But
Absolutely.
I do agree though that the Notre Dame state of the program is in its preheating the oven stage. Because you know why? Marcus Freeman went out to the grocery store and got some new items.
Mm.
He done got him the goat cheese instead of the sharp cheddar. Then got him the almond milk instead of the 2%. Then got him the Danimals yogurt instead of the Yoplait.
Mm.
The man even switched from Raisin Bran to Golden Grams. Something that's an odd switch. But he's did all this because he's like, okay, last year we had to order pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Large pepperoni, mushrooms, bacon, and pineapple on the side. And that didn't feed everybody that was necessary to feed. You know, pizza only come with a certain amount of slices. We didn't get the extra large because we missed out on 3 slices that we needed to eat.
Right.
Somebody didn't eat at home. But now Marcus Freeman has preheated the oven and got the right chefs. You know how you go on Instagram now to find your chefs, find your private chefs. You gotta go on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He found him a Denbrock chef that was happening to leave somewhere else to say, hey, can you make this meal for me? Because the oven is ready, meaning the program is set, the stage is made. Now all we gotta do is prep that meal. We're gonna put it in the refrigerator, let it marinate. You know, when you make that good food, you gotta put it in that plastic bag and then let it marinate for at least 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what recruiting has done for Marcus Freeman. He's been letting it marinate. 24 classes in there in that refrigerator. The 25 is in the freezer because we ain't defrost that yet.
Mm.
We ain't defrost 25 yet because you know we already defrosting 24 and it's in the refrigerator just doing its thing, getting ready. Because when we put that thing in the oven, it's gonna change lives. But it wasn't preheated to the right amount of temperature yet. You know, we had to turn up the degrees. We had to get a new strength coach. We had to go get a new offensive coordinator. We had to fix some patches in recruiting here and there from guys leaving and guys getting older and transitioning and guys in the transfer portal. We've been preheating the oven and turning up the heat this whole time in the off season. Because when we go down to Texas A&M, we gotta put the food in the oven because it's time to bake.
It's time to bake.
It's time to bake. And by the end of the timer, when we look at the end of the regular season, that thing is coming out medium well. Or when I go to nice restaurants and get the steak, I call it medium plus. You say medium plus to the waiter, they look at you different. They say, oh, okay, you might know something about steaks because that ain't even on the regular rare, medium well done chart. You talk about medium plus. I have to think about what that is.
Yeah.
But the chef gonna do me just right because I'm speaking their language. You see what I'm saying? So we want that medium plus when it come out after 12 games. Because that's what's gonna get everybody fed. Is when you make the home cooked meal. When you door dashing, it comes with a limited amount because they gotta box it up. They gotta put it in something. But when you pre-making that meal, you preheat the oven, you done got the right chef, you done got the right ingredients. You done did all the necessary steps to take you to the next level. To a master chef. We're trying to become master chefs at the end of this.
Okay. That was one of your better food analogies, Left. When you jumped it off with the preheat the oven, I was like, okay. Hey, you went deep on that one, bro.
That's right. That's right.
You went deep on that one. So a lot of people Left would say the identity of Notre Dame football is pound and ground, throw the ball to the tight ends, right? Recently. And there's a place in college football for that. And I think most people will point to Michigan winning the national championship this year, doing something similar with a guy that really, I don't even know if I can call him a game manager at the quarterback position, dude. And somehow, some way, he felt like he should declare for the NFL draft. Kudos to him. Hey, good luck to him in his NFL career. Speaking of J.J. McCarthy. But I'm just interested in whether or not Notre Dame needs to evolve its identity, right? Because the identity has been in Notre Dame football, no one's bigger than the program, right? Notre Dame football is not bigger than the university. So we're talking Notre Dame football, but it seems to be evolving with Pete Bavacqua and the money they paid Mike Denbrock and the money they're going to have to pay some of their assistant coaches to stay around. We'll see if that takes place. But it seems to be trending in a lot of ways that Notre Dame, in line with what you always say, Notre Dame is finally choosing to win.
What? We're actually making the choice now? Before we like to play the fake hate. Oh, we're trying, we're 4 for 40, we on the road, we doing, and it just didn't give us the results we were looking for. Now, choosing to win is getting the guy that everybody knows is gonna make life better at Notre Dame. Getting the Denbrock. Going after the top recruits. Filling in the holes and patching up the things that the fan base is concerned about from sudden changes. Getting a strength coach. If anything, familiarizing your program with Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman is bringing in guys he knows, and that matters. And I think you're on mute. And I think the line in which he's addressing problems, like getting the receiver before the season's even over. I mean, getting the receiver room right before the season even over showed that that was a high priority.
Mhm.
Shows that he is acknowledging the issues with the team, and he's got a list of priorities in which he's going about it. And it was receiver coach first, get these transfers in, get the OC, get the strength coach. I mean, I like the way he's going about it.
I just think the man finally feels safe as a Notre Dame head coach, right? No longer has an assistant head coach on his staff. No longer has someone that can veto his choice for a coordinator position. And finally, money's being shelled out to go get the guy that he wants. Those are things that we didn't see early on in the tenure of Marcus Freeman. Those are things that we have seen of recent history. So it gives you the feeling, Notre Dame fans, that things just might be changing a little bit. Um, Marcus Freeman and his conversations with Jack Swarbrick and Pete Bavacqua are having a positive effect. And people upstairs are starting to see, you know what? We do have to make choices. Look, I'm here in Chicago, Left, where for over going on 40 years now, we have an organization that constantly chooses not to win. They constantly choose lame duck coaches under the guise of we're a loyal ownership. We don't believe in firing coaches under 3 years. We don't think that's the right thing to do, right? And you would much rather create a buzz and conversation about your brand rather than make difficult decisions to win. There's talking Philly, Left, that the coach that just left the Super Bowl last year and made the playoffs this year might get fired. Why? Because the owner doesn't like the direction of the team. That's life, man. Making difficult decisions in the face of emotions, relationships, what might not feel right, what goes against what you're used to doing. Heck, if you want to win in life, some evolution is going to have to take place over and over again in life. It's the way it is. It's amazing.
The way it is.
It's amazing we've gotten to this point since 1988. And we're just now starting to feel like, man, they're choosing to win. They're choosing to win.
And it's refreshing because it's at the right time. Because
Mhm.
you have to change the way of thinking going into these new playoffs is you're built for longevity. Right now, we was pushing all our chips in to win those games and get to the Final Four. Now we have to think long-term strategy. You got to think depth. You got to think coaching staff. You got to think guys that are here for the long run. Your young guys. You got to develop your young depth early and get them on the field often.
Do you think identity moving forward, the poll question, right? Trenches, quarterback, offense, defense. If you had to choose which one you would vote for the identity of Notre Dame football in 2024, where do you think you would go?
We've seen Michigan do it without, well, I can't even say do it without a top quarterback. He's 27-1. What was Ian, like 30-3 or something like that? So
Yeah.
it's obviously biasly, I'll say it's a quarterback. But the offensive line has given us a great chance, but the offensive line can't score points for us. So, I mean, if anything, it's tough. I think the organization piece is probably at top for a place like Notre Dame, and its organization already. Organization and being succinct is probably number one. Because we can't say it's talent, because we have all these NFL players and guys in the playoffs and all of
Third
this.
most in the playoff. Yeah.
Can't really say it's talent. I mean, you can put a little bit on the coaching staff, in my opinion, only because of the turnover. Notre Dame is one of the few places where coaches are coming in and out every year. Every year. If not speculation of it, which takes up time every year. I think when Notre Dame was at its peak was when the staff was together more than at least 3 years. And that was Kelly's 2012 year. 2012 through 15, 16, the staff remained the same and you saw a lot of success. So I think some of it's the staff, some of it obviously is the organization of things at top. But then it just comes down to I think when it shakes down to the bottom, you gotta have those top players, those maybe one or two best players in the country.
Yeah. I can
Some
agree.
guys that win some awards. If we get some guys that win awards, I think it will shape the perspective of what Notre Dame has, because we don't have a Blitnikoff. We don't have the dope. We don't even have a person. We had a guy who had just as good as stats as the guy that won the dope and didn't even get nominated for the dope. So I think winning awards is the next step from a Notre Dame player's perspective of what we need to accomplish, offensively especially.
I'll say this. Let me point to something that I heard this morning. I thought it was kind of profound. Louis Riddick on ESPN this morning said, watch the teams that get to the end. And he was speaking about the Philadelphia Eagles having an identity crisis, with Shane Steichen leaving on the offensive side of the ball. It's so important that you recognize, and he said this, that when we get to the end here in the playoffs, I guarantee you the teams that are there will be able to run the ball and stop the run. He said, I don't care what level of football you get to, the teams that consistently win are teams that have the identity that their offense can do multiple things because of their offensive line, and their defense can do multiple things because of their defensive line. Doesn't matter if it's below 0, we can win this way. Doesn't matter if it's 90, we can win this way. Doesn't matter if it's windy, we can win this way. So that's the combination of things. Yes, it starts with the trenches. Like, look, left. One of the greatest things I saw Saturday that shocked me, which goes to identity, right? Because coldest game ever at Arrowhead on a Saturday night. The game wasn't even on NBC. They put it on streaming, Peacock. And Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid came out throwing. 20-mile-per-hour wind, below 0. And Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes came out like, this is who we are. Yeah, we'll run the ball. Our interior offensive line is our strength. Our tackles are not that good. We're going to run the ball between the tackles, and we're going to come out and sling this thing around. Yeah, I know our wide receivers have been dropping balls all year, but guess what? It's the playoffs, and we're going to do what we do. We're not about to try and come up with trick stuff, trick plays. We're going to do what we do and execute who we are. And if we go down, we go down. And that within itself, even within that, I think fans can respect that. I think in 2023, Notre Dame lacked identity in several ways. I think they lacked identity on the offensive side of the ball. When it came down to big games and big moments, I don't think they had anything to go to.
No.
I don't think they had anything to go to left.
No.
You saw that at the end of the Ohio State game, and you saw it in the Clemson game. No identity.
Offensively. Because defensively.
No. Wait. In Clemson, Maffa ran for 180. That's a problem too. You can't stop the run, and you haven't been able to stop the run for a long time now. With Marcus Freeman as the head coach, you've been over 100 yards per game defensively against the run. As a head coach and a defensive coordinator.
But I think that number fools you. Because
and wait. What was it offensively that hurt them in big plays against Ohio State? The run,
the touchdown run, but we're talking about one play, two, like the play where he scored on the 65-yard touchdown. That was a play that was a player-made mistake, in my opinion. Maris folded in when he did. I think anybody watching that would be like, Maris, that probably wasn't your job.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up contain, and he basically ran untouched the whole way. Now, I wouldn't blame Al Golden necessarily, but I definitely would put a player on the pedestal of responsibility for that one. Now, I also think when we talk about the run total, I think it can be misleading when you relate it to the point total. Because the point total to me makes the difference, because at the end of the day, if the defense is giving up 17 points, that should be good on a probability level that we should win 90% plus games if you holding the defense to 17 points or 20 and below. In college football, come on now, against CJ Stroud, we gave him 21. CJ Stroud just went out there and won a playoff game as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So point total, yeah, Ohio State ran the ball towards the end.
Let me ask you a question, Left. Notre Dame led that game for 2.5 quarters with CJ Stroud and the wide receivers trying to throw the ball. When the Ohio State offense finally got going, how did they do it?
They ran, and then CJ made some crucial
He made some crucial throws, but they started running the ball down Notre Dame's throat. That's how the Ohio State offense finally got going. That's the identity of
But they can only run the ball because we couldn't score any points offensively. The only way a team is starting to run the ball is because they know that we don't have to have no urgency in scoring.
Man,
We can wear this defense
identity
down.
crisis. Oh, I agree.
We can wear this defense down because we know that even if we don't get a touchdown or a field goal, we can be on the field for about 9-10 plays, wear them down, get the ball right back, damn near 3 and out. That's what teams are banking on when they start thinking the run game can be their solution, because they know that we don't score enough points in bunches to keep a team like off of running the football. So when they start getting these 100-yard running games, that's the kickstarter to why they make these games close anyway. But then where our defense comes in, why I say the running can be misleading, is because the point total. Yeah, they may have some rushing yards. They may get up and down the field sometimes. But if the point total is low and we have a good day on offense, NC State, then we can start to see where the team can be great at. When we can score in bunches and our defense maintain what it maintains. If we have people think
Stick with this. Left probably going through some mountains right now. Lucky Lefty podcast. Dude, like I see what Roger says in the chat. Go watch the game. The Ohio State offense got to where they got because they ran the ball. They ran the ball. Ryan Day was being stubborn, trying to throw the ball all over the field. They couldn't do anything with Notre Dame. Nothing. He finally said, let's run the ball. It was the same thing this year. Second half, big play to Travion Henderson. Gave Ohio State a nice cushion. Notre Dame came back and took the lead. But late in games, you have to be able to run the ball. Michigan won the championship because no matter what happened, you talk, J.J. McCarthy's horrible. J.J. McCarthy can't do this. You know what Michigan was able to do? Run the ball and stop the run. Tell me the last national championship team that gave up 100 yards on the ground every week in college football. I'll wait. Notre Dame and that identity of giving up 115, 120 yards per game on the ground has to change. You're not winning a national championship giving up 120, 115 yards per game. You're just not. I don't care how great you are blitzing. I don't care how great you are pressuring the quarterback. When teams can settle you down by running the ball, which is exactly, Cade Klubnik is horrible. He is horrible. He is the ACC J.J. McCarthy. He's horrible. All Clemson did was settle the game down with Maffa. That's all they did.
I've never seen him, so I don't know.
They settled the game down for Cade Klubnik by running the ball down Notre Dame's throat. That's all they did.
That's easy. I'm telling you, that's easy when you know the other team can't score. Well, you know the other team isn't going to Steph Curry you in Golden State where they're just shooting threes and you got to keep up with that. They know that they can jumpstart their offense by running the football.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, if we were scoring hot and fast and ready, like Little Caesar's Pizza, teams got to play catch up. Teams got to be like, if we get on this field and play around running the football and get off the field, they might score and it'd be a 14-point game. So we got to find we got to make other teams' offenses desperate. Other teams' offenses come in, not necessarily are intimidated by our defense. They're just like, it's going to be hard work.
It's
going to be hard work.
Didn't we just watch this on Sunday? We watched the first number 7 seed beat a 2 seed in the playoffs for the first time. Why? Because
their offense couldn't score.
Matt LaFleur, right? Quarterback stunk.
He had 0 points.
And couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep up even when the defense wasn't doing the job.
And Matt LaFleur ran the ball.
So Matt LaFleur came in and ran the ball. He looked at the game against Buffalo. He looked at all the other teams that had success against the Cowboys defense, and he wasn't stubborn as a head coach. He wasn't stubborn. He didn't say, yo, I got Jordan Love and all these receivers. Man, we're going to come in and light the Cowboys up. No, he said, you know what?
We're going to run that thing.
They don't have linebackers. They're small, and they're smallest at the defensive tackle. We're going to run the ball and play action them to death.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's smart identity football. That means the coach and the coaching staff must have an identity as well, Left.
That's right.
Meaning they have to be flexible week to week, opponent to opponent. Yes, there are teams, Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, consistently hold people under 100 yards rushing every week.
Every week.
No wonder they're in championship games all the time. No wonder. No wonder Marcus Freeman in the 24 class and the 25 class is now going out getting 320, 315-pound defensive tackles instead of getting 280-pounders and asked them to gain 20 pounds, which was the identity at the end of the previous regime in recruiting when they started out getting guys like Lewis Nix, Stephon Tuitt, and you see the difference. You see the difference. Marcus Freeman didn't have that when he came in, but now he's going out and he's recruiting those guys.
Yeah, every guy we started taking was guys we wanted to add weight to.
Absolutely.
Now
why is
we
he
got
doing
guys
that? Because
like when I was at Florida,
knows,
the whole thing at Florida was cutting weight because guys was too big. Florida just had a 400-pounder.
Yeah, number 21.
I mean, they literally just had a 400-pound dude. Like,
yeah.
Does that equate to success? I mean, I don't know, but hell, does it do something? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The kid, he's cut weight and he's become a pretty good football player.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just the size alone will get you far.
Mm-hmm.
We're so used to getting these healthy, these guys getting 3 meals a day in a strength program since they was in 7th grade and just slim fit, ready to go adults. But listen, football is, you got to have some leverage. And sometimes being big, that weight just carries different. You know what I'm saying? Not everything is about speed necessarily.
So, Roderick, you're losing this argument, bro, because you're defending something that's on weak foundation. We talked about it yesterday. Jordan Love struggled early because they opened it up 3-4 wides and tried to throw the ball. And a smart coach said, I have to help this kid because he's struggling. So they went to the run game. They went to 12 personnel, the majority of the snaps. And now he has 29 touchdowns because his touchdowns, 80% of them, are on play action, coming off the run. Because he's not ready to just open it up to 3-4 wide and drop him back. He's not. So a smart coach said, let me help the kid out. Let me get Aaron Jones in the run game going and give him play action, which makes it easier for him to read and make decisions. It's simple. It's football. And that's what the struggle is and what the struggle with the offense for Notre Dame was. They were unable to find anything to help Sam Hartman. When he was struggling, Jared Parker couldn't find anything to go to be the anchor, to be the identity, to help a struggling quarterback against good competition. Period. You keep arguing something that every analyst in the NFL has been talking about this all week. What's changed for Jordan Love? What changed is his head coach identified he can't do this right now. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He can't go shotgun first, second, and third down and carve defenses up. So we have to go 12 personnel, lean on the run game, and let him work in his strength right now, which is play action.
Which is what the Eagles should have did.
And that's what became Green Bay's identity. That's when Jordan Love changed as a quarterback. Because the knowledge of a smart coaching staff said, This is his strength right now. We have to help him. We have to give him an identity and give our team an identity. Not saying, oh, he sucks. See, that's what most coaching staffs are saying. Oh, this dude just sucks. He's struggling. No. What is he good at? What can we go to? Yes, I watched the game. They were in 12 personnel 70% of the time. 3 of his touchdowns came on play action. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? These are facts. Prove me wrong. Did you watch the game? Who was the best player on the field? Aaron Jones, the running back, because they ran the ball. Did you watch the game? Did you watch the Bears game? I did. They didn't score as many points, but Aaron Jones was the offense in that game. You go back to the previous game. Aaron Jones coming back took their offense to the next level because they had already started running the ball. When they played Kansas City, they ran the ball and kept Patrick Mahomes on the sideline and went play action. Because that also helps their defense, which is a porous defense. Come on, man. We're talking identity. Notre Dame had no identity. The coaching staff didn't do a good job at finding something that Sam Hartman can hold on to. What are you talking about? Jordan Love was horrible the first 7 weeks. Dude, go look at the stats. Go look at the stats. He struggled. He struggled. What are you talking about? No one said Jordan Love struggled. Clean your ears. We said the coaching staff found an identity for him to be successful. Jordan Love cannot go 4 wide like Patrick Mahomes right now and carve teams up. He's not good enough right now. So they give him play action to help him, which is something that Jared Parker should have done for Sam Hart. That's something that they should have done. Well, we got to like week 10 left, and the Notre Dame media was asking Jared Parker about play action.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember, it was like week 9 or 10, and the media is like, yo, are we going to have play action in week 9 or 10? You see your quarterback is struggling. The best player on your offense is the running back. Heck, the best room is the running back room. And just no identity for the offense at all. None. That, to me, was the biggest faux pas of the 23 season for Notre Dame. The offensive identity was lacking. I think the defense definitely had an identity, but the defense continues to struggle against the run year after year. And that's a personnel issue. I'll say that. They don't have the dudes at defensive tackle to consistently stop teams from running the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
They just don't. That's the person. You can't scheme stopping the run. You can call run blitzes, whatever, right?
But that's why teams aren't afraid of our defense necessarily. They just look at it as like, all right, we're gonna have to work our way down because they're not gonna give us too many explosive plays.
Yeah.
They're gonna give us plays, which I think, where USC ran that problem into was that they could run plays.
Man.
They just couldn't get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Which our defense is great at. So I think once we're able to score in bunches, you'll start to see the defense in whole. Because, they probably play more snaps than the offense, just if you tally it up after the whole year. So, in my opinion, I do think that you talk about coaching to his strengths, I think Riley Leonard will be the same way. Run the football, play action of football. But now in college, sideline to sideline, a lot of throws behind the line of scrimmage. Let Riley run the football.
So when we talk about fit, what is there a because you're going down a road that I think a lot of Notre Dame fans question based upon what happened, right? People in
Yeah.
the chat are talking about it now. Like, yo, Sam Hartman wasn't a good fit when they got him, right? So how can Riley Leonard become a good fit?
Yeah, Riley Leonard is more based, in my opinion, his success is going to come from not turning the football over and then making throws in crucial moments.
Hmm.
The run game is what he's going to be successful with throughout the whole regular season because he has other parts that can also run the football. So as long as he does his job and not turn the football over, we can get through the regular season. It's going to come down to drives and situational football for Riley Leonard, in those play actions, in those deep throws, in those one-on-ones in the red zones. Those are the throws he's going to have to be really smart on that make the difference in winning big games or not.
Yeah. And has nothing to do with, I don't even have to go to the previous coaching staff. Well, I have to because Marcus Freeman was a defensive coordinator under the previous regime. And whether he's been defensive coordinator or head coach, Notre Dame has given up over 100 yards on the ground per game. You're not winning like that. You're not.
We're not winning against a talented or more talented team than us.
Well, we just watched Washington. With perfect example. What was Washington's identity all year? Put up points and make plays, just enough plays on defense.
Yeah. That just
But
can't work for a team that's consistently doing something that they're not tricking. They wasn't tricking Washington.
but no, Washington can do that in the Pac-12.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
They can do that in the Pac-12.
We know that the Midwest just has a stronger, tougher box front
Yes.
seven. Any
When
Pac-12,
you,
them Pac-12 dudes are like light in the pants.
they
That's just
probably
how.
could have
That's just
done
the
that.
style of football.
They did it against Texas. They probably could have done it. They probably could have done it against. They probably could have done it against Alabama. They probably could have scored enough points and got just enough stops against Jalen Milroe and Alabama's offense.
Right.
Michigan just was the wrong opponent, bro.
They just was the wrong opponent.
Wrong opponent. Because
Because you can't gain size in 2 weeks.
No. Their personnel was
That
not
size
about to
alone
change.
beat Washington. Like, let's just be
Yep.
serious.
Yep.
Because yeah, you can get some plays off, but when it gets smaller spaces and tougher to run the football, this and that, they just don't have the size for it. That's why the Washington offensive line didn't win the award.
You think the quick release of Jalen Milroe and the play calling won the award for the Washington offensive line? Speaking of the Joe Moore Award,
Jalen Milroe's just limited as a quarterback, so the play calling is shaped in a way where if you can defend the one or two things that really work and just don't let him get yards after contact and bring him down, they're not going to score 30 plus points on you. That's why the game was the score it was. Both those teams are low scoring teams to tough defenses. So it's just a matter of who can be more fundamentally sound and just make enough efficient plays. Jalen Milroe's not an efficient player. He's like a Russell Westbrook. So
yeah,
JJ McCarthy's just playing in the pocket, doing what's asked, not doing too much.
using his legs when he has to.
When he has to, he's gonna pick up that 4th and 1 where Sam's running out of bounds. That's the difference between him and Sam.
That was a nice little shot you just threw at Sam, but
No, I'm just saying that's the difference of why JJ McCarthy's 27 and 1. Because he knows how to play his role. You know.
So that's why you said Riley Leonard, his role is just going to be being more of a point guard, not turning the ball over. You don't have to be a superstar. This is not Duke.
This is not Duke. We are
You
not
don't have
asking you to get 40 a night. Because we can win with you getting 15 and 7. get you like 4 or 5 rebounds, maybe a couple steals. You know, we can win with you just being a good player.
Yeah, if you just score 30 points, you're gonna win in Notre Dame.
Yeah, if we can get to 30, 35, that's a great number if we can hit it consistently. Because our defense is going to give us a chance. Offensive line going to give us a chance.
Yeah.
It's the skill positions that got to make the difference.
So I think ultimately what Notre Dame has been known as is really good, man. Like, I'm not saying it's good enough, but it's really good. Notre Dame is known as a school that's going to run the ball. The defense is going to keep you in games, especially in big games. But there's a question of whether or not you have. We had Bruce Feldman on before the 23 season. He said, "Look, Notre Dame, they need to get playmakers at quarterback and wide receiver." That's been their struggle for a while.
I mean, it looks like it in the transfer portal and how we recruit. I mean, half of these guys are just playmakers. They're not even a position specific through these recruiting that we've been doing. So that's we're like overreacting to the problem. You get a guy like Aeneas Williams in there who is just a playmaker.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, line him up at receiver if you need to. You know, like a guy that can have impact in multiple places where I think we should need, obviously balance it out with more technical guys. Because I think that's a part of it. Because like you can't have a team with a bunch of Rico Floreses now. It's a balance to things.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I think you're right, man. I think moving forward, I can see the trenches. I would be okay with the identity of the team in 24 being 25 being the offensive and defensive lines. Personnel wise, Sean Sevillano Jr. said he's coming in trying to take a spot. I think they have a little bit more quick twitch coming off the edge. Even with Oben coming in as a transfer, you get Traore, some of the other young guys coming. Botello's coming back. Not really, like I said, man, my expectations, I've kind of tempered those as far as what he can do. But I think they have a little bit more quick twitch, athleticism coming off the edge than they previously had. I think they have a little bit more depth up the middle. And they have better linebacker play. So maybe in athleticism, we still have to see the production, right? Because Pro Football Focus graded J.D. Bertrand and Jack Kaiser in the top 10 of their linebackers grades. So, and I think the new linebackers are going to have a more athletic. It can make more plays in the backfield, more tackles for loss. They still have to grow.
Yeah, I think it'll be a trade. We may not get as consistent, but we'll get more screen popping plays.
Yeah, so you kind of trade certain mistakes because of inexperience.
Yeah, we might give up more points, but I guarantee we'll have more turnovers.
More sacks, more tackles for loss.
More sacks, Marcus Freeman's not going to be talking about sacks don't matter. I think we'll have more of that. And maybe, we'll give and take just because they're young. So I think red zone may suffer a little bit. Third down may suffer. But from getting guys off the field, having turnovers, more sacks, more impact plays on defense that stand out, I think it may be more of whereas the defense was a constant, okay, you're going to get this and this, it's going to take a while. Teams may rip off a 3-play touchdown because somebody missed an assignment or something because we're young. But we might be in the wrong right place and get a pick 6. Stuff like that. So, or get a strip sack or, big crucial third down or anything. So I do think that there's a trade, but there'll be more impact on a highlight reel defensively than years before.
I have, man. It is. It's going to be interesting. I don't think I want Riley Leonard to be the identity of this team in 2024.
I think
I,
having Sam as an identity last year just took away from what this team had.
mm, we lost left for a minute. But man, that's a good conversation that left was about to start right there. Like it was almost immediately upon him showing up in January that all of a sudden the identity of this Notre Dame team was going to be this offense under Sam Hartman, what he could do for the wide receivers. And it's like, no, it's hard to argue against as long as Al Golden is going to be in South Bend. It's going to be hard to argue against the Notre Dame defense being the identity of the team. It's going to be hard with the long record of Notre Dame having great offensive linemen, even though the offensive line is going to be, for some people, a question mark this year, right? Even with that, history has shown us that Notre Dame eventually is going to get the offensive line right, even if they struggle. And I think that was one of the biggest fallbacks of the offensive lines of the past is that so much was put on them in big games that when they didn't put up points, the offensive line received the bulk of the blame, right? And that's why that might need to be an identity change at Notre Dame. I think it might have been our guy Roosevelt that brought up admissions. You are who you are, right? And you can evolve, but that doesn't mean that you change who you are, right? I found that out as a dad having a daughter, right? Because my thoughts and who I was as a man when I married my wife to who I am now as a man, I'm still the same man at the core, but I've evolved in my thinking in a lot of areas from having a daughter, simply from having a daughter and watching her grow and being open to having conversations about how she views the world. It's allowed me to grow and evolve. I'm still the same person at the root. So I don't think Notre Dame needs to change who it is at the root, but I do believe it needs to grow other branches off of that to allow the football program to be successful moving into the future. That's different than changing who they are. Uh, there's no need to lower academic. I keep telling people this. People, like every kid that comes to Notre Dame has a 3.5. That's far from the truth. There are a bunch of kids that would have gotten into Notre Dame in the 24 class whose GPAs, I don't want to say a bunch, but there were a few kids, right? Bronte Johnson, perfect example. Notre Dame asked him to do certain things and they would accept him. He bust his tail and he did those things. They literally asked Brandon Hillman to get a certain grade in this core class. That's it. He didn't get it. So to say that Notre Dame doesn't bend academically to allow certain players into the program, that's just not true. That's just not true. They do it every recruiting cycle. They give exceptions every recruiting cycle to get really good football players or give really good football players a chance to be part of the University of Notre Dame. So they don't need to lower their academic standards. They don't need to. I flat out tell you, man, Justin Scott wasn't a 3.2, 3.0 student. He had changed. He admitted that in several interviews that the student he was when he was a freshman, he's a totally different man, young man, totally different student as a junior and a senior. And honestly, as an administration, I would look more towards that, right? Because we all know, like, yo, once you start off slow academically, the best thing you can do is make sure you start off great with your GPA in high school and college, right? Because it feels a lot better trying to maintain a good start than it does trying to overcome a bad start. Going uphill is always tougher. It's always tougher. And so, Notre Dame is in a good spot. They're in a good spot. I think the conversations that Marcus Freeman is having with Pete Pavakwa and Jack Swarbrick is more about how can we evolve based upon who we are? How can we evolve? How can we get better? Marcus Freeman came in and he said, yo, flat out, the identity of this team. I think, do I have that clip? I think I have that clip when he first took over. Yeah, here it is. This is Marcus Freeman talking about the identity of Notre Dame when he first took the job.
I kind of told him this today in the team meeting is that I have a vision and identity I want for our team, and that's to be a team that can run the ball and stop the run, right? I believe in our O-line and our D-line being the foundation of our team. And so I'm excited to see if that can become our identity. That's my vision. I also want to see a team that's aggressive. That's one of our mantras, challenge everything. What does that mean? It means be aggressive. Do not play timid. Do not play scared. Think outside the box offensively and defensively, schematically. Be okay with taking chances.
You see Marcus Freeman early in his tenure, deservedly so. Should be critiqued, should have been critiqued. Multiple examples of things that just weren't good enough that he needed to get better at as a head coach, right? Can't lose home games to the likes of Marshall and Stanford. Think he corrected that. Can't have issues at the end of the game, getting personnel on and off the field in big games. Players and coaches. Ohio State. Hopefully we see that that's rectified. Recruiting. We were told we have to shop down a different aisle. Okay. Marcus Freeman has changed that. Simply just what he's done in the quarterback room. Quarterback room looks 10 times better than it's looked in, I would say, the previous 7 years at Notre Dame. Well, not 7. I would say previous 4 to 5. So that within itself, when you talk about identity, are some of the things that he's changed. But there are more things to come. I think what we've seen with the coaching staff, right? Retention, keeping guys, stopping them from going to bigger programs, perceived bigger programs and better opportunities, specifically for better salary, is something that I think we're going to possibly see change here in the near future. So the conversations that Marcus Freeman has had and will continue to have seems to be having an effect and seems to be enlightening Notre Dame, the administration, the powers that be, to the fact that there are choices that need to be made to signify that we want to win and that we're seriously trying to win a national championship at Notre Dame. I think those steps have been made. And that doesn't mean that there are still more improvements, right? Still players you need to go out, get impact players more. I think the 25 class has Right now, I would say 4 to 5 impact players in the 25 class now. 4 to 5 kids in that class that I think are impact players. And then you get kids like Dallas Golden coming to campus this week for junior day. You know, the commits coming in. There's no reason for them to come in on a below zero day in January. But the vast majority of them are coming in. That shows the commitment of that 25 class and how those kids want to make a difference before they get to Notre Dame. They're committed to making a difference and making the 2025 class the best class in Marcus Freeman's tenure. And I said that in the middle of the 24 class before they committed, that the 25 class, before I think in November, I said, yo, Notre Dame could end up having double-digit commits before Christmas and before the new year. And they did it. Right? Now you get the Owen Stribbicks. You get the Golden. You get Plaxico Barris' son, Elijah Barris, right? Sean Terry out of Ohio. We broke down that film yesterday. You're starting to see guys. Now, the vision of the wide receiver room changes, right? Because we saw the guys in Notre Dame was going after previously, right? Taller guys, bigger guys, right? But then they were getting physical guys, right? Greathouse, Rico. They really weren't that good after the catch. Mike Brown comes in, and like 2 of the first offers for him are guys that are great with the ball after the catch, that have suddenness to their game, in and out of breaks. Yo, that's something that I think has been missing, and it's something that made or has the fan base super excited about a Jordan Faison, right? Because we had Jaden Thomas, we had Greathouse, we had Rico, we had Deion Colsey, we had all of these big guys, physical. But where was the suddenness in the Notre Dame offense at the wide receiver position? Where is it at? And immediately Mike Brown comes in and he's recruiting the guys that they were after. Even Cam Williams has suddenness to his game, but suddenness at 6'3", 6'4", right? Which is like the archetype of what you want. You get a 6'3", 6'4" kid that has suddenness to his game, that can run after the catch. So you're seeing multiple guys in the 25 class that they're going after at wide receiver that have that ability. So when you hear about KK Smith and what he's been doing in practice, right? And you hear about, or you see Jordan Faison, you hear about the speed of Logan Sadate, you start to get excited that the wide receiver room might have a little bit more suddenness to it moving forward. The same way the Notre Dame recruiting with Sevillano, Davion Dixon, Jarquez Carter, and others that they're recruiting in the 25 class. You're starting to see that Notre Dame is saying, yo, we have to get a Vita Vea type. You saw that last night, right? Finally, there was a defensive line that could stop the Philadelphia Eagles and their quarterback sneak. And Jalen Hurts, his knee might impact that. It might. But they were able to stop him multiple times. Why? They had a Vita Vea in the middle. They had a dude, 350, that anchors everything and allows the linebackers to play, allows the safeties to play, run around like crazy. Notre Dame, once again, they had it in 2012, 2013. Now they're trying to return to that culture. We just played the clip of Marcus Freeman. As soon as he came in, he said he met with the players, he met with the staff, and he said, this is the identity. What did he say? We need to run the ball and stop the run. They've been able to run the ball, but they have not been able to stop the run. They just flat out haven't been able to stop the run. They haven't. And that's part of the identity that needs to change. They have to consistently be able to stop the run. This is the thing, Left. You can't, because I agree wholeheartedly, right? CJ Stroud made third down throws in that game. But when you shut when you shut teams down in the passing game, teams should not be able to go to the run and be successful.
That's right.
They shouldn't. And when teams can go to the run to be successful, Wake Forest, let's go to the Wake Forest game. Once Wake Forest got down 21 points, they had no shot. They had no shot, period. But Wake Forest is able to move the ball with trick plays and running the ball left. Wake Forest couldn't consistently drop back and throw the ball on Notre Dame. No one was able to do that all year.
All year.
The success for teams against Notre Dame was via the run.
Every time.
Louisville was successful because they were able to run the ball and play action Notre Dame. Clemson was successful with Cade Klubnik because they were able to run the ball and play action Notre Dame. That is the loose end that Notre Dame, they've already identified. That's what I love about Marcus Freeman and his coaching staff. No excuses. We've identified what we need to do. We're working on that. They identified the wide receiver problem. They're working on that. I think year by year, it's going to get better. They even went to the portal to make sure it got better this year. And it wasn't totally dependent on unproven players from a production standpoint. That said, we're not going into another season putting the weight of the wide receiver room on unproven players from a production standpoint. So that's what you have to love about this Notre Dame staff. You have to love it. They get it. It's bigger than just having an identity. We have to do something about who we are. We can be who we are, but we can always find a way to get better. And you have to agree that the Notre Dame staff has made a commitment to that. We talked about Chicago. Look, this staff recognizes in Chicago and Indianapolis. Now it's multiple players I'm hearing that they're looking at in the 25 and 26 class. It's not just Damian Shanklin. Looking at other Indiana kids. Mark Zachary, defensive back out of Indiana, has Notre Dame in his top 10 that he released. Marcus Freeman is realizing, I would love to have a Kenneth Grant out of Maryville at Notre Dame playing defensive tackle at 320, 330. A day one defensive tackle. You darn right I would love to have that kid on this defensive line. So the days of, the previous regime just pretty much ignoring the state of Indiana and ignoring Chicago. Those days are over. And now a Bronte Johnson, now a Damian Shanklin, now a Mark Zachary. Now you start to see them at Notre Dame, right? Shrewsbury, Brute, getting burdened. And now there's another kid, local kid, that they're looking at. Why wouldn't you recruit your backyard? Why shouldn't Indiana kids grow up wanting to go to Notre Dame? Why? Why shouldn't a Braden Fisk choose Notre Dame over Florida State in the transfer portal when he grew up in the shadows in Notre Dame Stadium? Why not? Why shouldn't Notre Dame be number one on every Chicago kid's list? They should. That wasn't the case when Marcus Freeman took over, but it's the case now. We see that there's a new identity in recruiting. And I think Notre Dame is going to have some new identity moving forward in a lot of different areas. I think the Notre Dame offense is going to have a new identity in about 2 to 3 years left. I really believe that. I'm just basing that on the quarterback room. Yeah.
I think by the time we get to Deuce Night, we'll see a dramatic change in what we used to be to what the focus becomes when you add a player like that. You got to start with him being the base that you build around, and that's an entirely
Mhm.
see that Jaden Daniels type of offense come to Notre Dame, where the quarterback is the centerpiece, which has been the formula to a lot of these teams' success down the line.
So, once again, the poll question is up at YouTube. What do you think the identity of Notre Dame football is going to be in 2024? The trenches, both sides of the offense and defensive line, the quarterback, offense or defense. Early results left show that most people are going with the trenches.
Yeah, the size of the trenches defensive line wise definitely needs to change. I think once we start seeing a heavier D line up front, it'll start to make sense and at that intimidation factor and those numbers of being top 10 in defense will start to look top 10 on a week to week basis on an eye test. We get top 10 due through to statistics and then plays that are made, but having that size is going to have teams think a little differently when they game plan against us.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest issues. You can't get away from it, man. And it's hard to uphold it, right? Because I think we've seen the dominance defensively of Alabama come from the fact year after year they're putting in the top defensive tackle into the NFL draft. The top two of the top five defensive tackle, prospects into the NFL draft. Year after year, they had a dominant defensive tackle. And this year, they didn't have that dude at defensive tackle. They had good dudes, but they didn't have that dominant dude. And that dominant dude in the middle changes everything for everybody else left. Like he makes everybody better. Everybody better. Brian Urlacher to this day talks about how Tommy Harris changed everything for him and Lance Briggs. Like they were already all pro bowlers before Tommy Harris got to the Chicago Bears. But when Tommy Harris got there as a rookie, he immediately changed everything for them. He just he
I mean, Manti's life was made off of and Tuitt and Knicks up front.
and that's not to say that's not discrediting Manti Te'o. Manti Te'o
At
was a
all, no,
great
no, no.
player.
But the type of defense we had, where it was a two gap defense, where
Hmm.
you needed size the two gap guys and make linebackers free to run through lanes and make plays. Then you add a talent of Manti, right? Super cerebral, good communicator, aggressive, got all the bells and whistles, and then you give them free lanes because you got a 300-pounder, you got an E Shack in there, you got a bunch of top players that are heavy, especially
Hmm.
at two. Now you got something. Now a player can flourish and you can see all the talent of a 5 star and this, that, and the third because the defense is set up for him to be successful.
So lay out the offensive identity of Notre Dame with the running backs, the improved wide receiver room. You said Riley Leonard just needs to manage the game, not being disrespectful, just saying this is not Duke. You don't have to be the superstar. Come in here, play the quarterback position, distribute the ball, don't create turnovers or commit turnovers. In the midst of saying all of that, what is the overall identity of the offense in 2024 for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? What type of offense are we going to see?
I think until we fully transition, like Denbrock getting a couple more years under his belt there, we'll see a team that's going to go to its strengths early, which is our running back room. Have those guys play in space. Hopefully, it's a lot of, like I said, sideline to sideline passes, whether that's to the running back or to the slot receiver, screen work, You got your quarterback counter run game using Jeremiah Love in open space. And then you'll see hopefully the play action off of that where you get your outside receivers active, your Bo Collins, your JTs. I think you'll still see a good commitment to the tight end in the slot. Your Chris Mitchell's catching a lot of RPOs and shallow routes and drag routes, quick outs, things that can continue in offense. You think similar to what uh, Riley Leonard can become a playmaker with, more as like a first baseman, not as a starting pitcher.
Hmm. So from that analogy, do you need Riley Leonard to be the closer? Who needs to be the closer for this offense? Okay, so let's say offense is multifaceted. We can get at you multiple ways, right? But when it's crunch time, who needs to be the closer for the 2024 offense?
I think it's got to come from a receiver, to be honest.
Hmm.
I think
Like Roma
we,
Dunze was the closer for Washington all year. Like,
like if we had like a Justin Jefferson impact last year with Kirk Cousins,
mm-hmm,
when in doubt, fourth down, he's making a catch in double coverage, that type of plays. I just think that we should demand it come from a receiver because I think that being the knockout punch to an offense that's hard to deal with already. Right now we're a heavy load, but having the receiver be the X factor in a sense, making plays, catching big downs, I think that changes the dynamic of how you defend this offense because now you're just always keeping in the back of your mind, oh, they got Chris Mitchell. Oh, they got Bo Collins. Oh,
mm-hmm,
they got a guy that can just be the nail in the coffin because they spent so much time trying to stop the run game. Us bleeding them to death with these screens and these throwouts and these RPOs and this, you know, overtime offense. And then all of a sudden you get hit by what is the killer, which is your over the top play action, your one on one with talent on the outside.
So you still expect to see run, play action, deep shots.
Yeah, early on. I think having a explosive offense at the right moment, Denbrock's really good for that because he's going to make the other team worried about what we're good at. And that's going to be running the football,
Uh-huh.
throwing it line the sideline, and then giving those one-on-one opportunities. Hopefully, where Riley Leonard can grow and be a guy that can throw it down the field.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. That's been the if you look at scouting reports about Riley Leonard, the deep ball accuracy has been the biggest issue from what they've seen and what they've reported. I just think he steps into a better situation than one Sam Hartman did. I'm not about to sit here and debate who's the better quarterback. I do. Sam Hartman had done much more on the football field and produced much more than Riley Leonard,
Facts.
numbers wise. So you never know. You don't know until you know, right? Like sitting here talking about people feeling like they can give a definite of who Riley Leonard is going to be at Notre Dame is like trusting exit polls during an election year. Like, oh, we had the Iowa caucus. This means this is going to be the person that wins based upon Iowa. That's not how that works, man. That's not how that works. Oh, he put up these stats at Duke. Therefore, he's going to do this in Notre Dame. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. I wish it could transfer like that.
Because usually you would want to stay like usually a guy like that you getting hype about put up like 4,000 yards at Duke. They went 12-1. He just had a ridiculous, 30 plus touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
The guy had a pretty good season, very pedestrian. I would be more hype about it like a Brennan Armstrong who just threw for the most yards in college last year or whatever, coming into a situation where it's like, okay, I can get hype on that. The guy
Mm-hmm.
had 2,900 yards. Like, that's not like eye popping. That's not like promising that you can guarantee he's gonna change life for receivers. It's 2,900 yards, 2,900 yards. Bro. That's like
Yeah.
so. I don't that based off of the numbers. I don't know how you even are thinking it could have had a bigger impact than what Sam didn't walk into a great opportunity like this because Sam came in with a premise of something different, which is Tommy Reese. I think if Tommy Reese was there, I think we would have seen it work out a lot better for him,
Yeah.
just for opportunities for him to make plays. I just think Jared Parker took a lot of those opportunities out of Sam's hand, and I think that accumulated as the season grown on, and then it just wasn't a connection.
Yeah. Yeah. We try to tell people, man, the transition. Forget football, switching offenses, having to learn offense, try to, all of that. It is what it is. Being a quarterback in Notre Dame is just different, bro. It is. This is not Duke, fam. This is not somewhere where you can hide if you have a bad game. See, Drake May hid all year.
Oh man,
And Caleb Williams couldn't hide. Drake May was able to hide all year because he had bad games, multiple bad games.
Still
Nobody
hiding,
still hide. Nobody talked about him, but the tape
still
doesn't
not.
lie. Tape doesn't lie. If you're doing the homework, tape doesn't lie.
He's
Riley
just a
Leonard,
slam dunk talent, That's all.
right? There is no hiding as a quarterback in Notre Dame. None. None. Like those 2 4th down runs you talked about that you pointed out with Sam Hartman, you can get away with that at Wake Forest.
The fact that we can remember those two fourth down plays just shows you how everything is looked at and remembered.
You can't.
Those two fourth down runs, I remember over all the plays, or even not even all the plays, but just I remember enough to remember those two things. And now, if you think all the plays you had during the season,
Mm-hmm.
for everybody to remember those couple plays, just shows you that everything is scrutinized and looked at, and that those two fourth down runs probably wouldn't even have been remembered at Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm. And so, that is what you call objectivity when we look at the identity. Would I like Riley Leonard to be in New York next December? You darn right. You darn right. I want Riley Leonard to be sitting up front in the front row in a chair at the downtown athletic club. You darn right. I want him to be that left.
He'll
Because
be
that
the, he'll
means
be he'll have the hype up to Game 7. About Game 7 or 8. He'll be in the conversation for sure, and it's just going to come down to can he finish again. Riley Leonard is going to have a really good opportunity to have a really good regular season. Period. It's gonna be a lot of things that overshadow the things that we're talking about right now because we're gonna be winning.
mm-hmm.
I believe we'll have a good regular season. I just gotta keep throwing this out there. This is judged purely based on playoff wins because the stack is built up for you. You're not coming into a bare cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming into a full pantry. We have every snack available. We got one of them walk-in pantries. You ever been one of them walk-in pantries?
I have a walk-in pantry. It's
Oh,
very
okay. So
beneficial.
it's
Yeah,
a 360-degree view.
yeah,
360 degrees full of snacks.
yeah.
Canned soups at the bottom,
We
Capri
keep the
Suns
snacks.
down,
Yeah, we keep the chips next to the
cookies,
candy. Yeah,
cookies, or
yeah.
you got them so good they in their own containers. You know how the glass containers that you pour them in and
Mm-hmm.
you refill them because you don't
Mm-hmm.
want the bags. So the bags look tacky.
They look tacky. Tactic. Yeah.
And we talking about the pantry where you got to get the little stool. You know that little stool you stand on because the shelves are just high enough.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get the little stool you bring out to stand on to get because it's levels to it. You even have the rotating seasoning cabinet.
Oh, my mom has that.
See,
That's
see,
next. That's
see,
next level. That's
see the
next level.
rotate, not the one where you just open. Okay, I got it. It's about 3 or 4 shelves. The one that rotates.
Mm-hmm.
You got to spin it. You think you on Wheel of Fortune? You got to spin it to get to the because it's so much. So this is one of them. This is one of them cabinets and pantries that when you were a kid, you love going over your friend's house
Mm-hmm.
because it was game time.
So you don't. I'm sure you and the missus eventually will have that 360 because, dude, first of all, I know when Left just from doing a podcast. I know when Left goes house hunting. I know the kitchen has to be immaculate. There is no way Left is about to buy a home that is not immaculate in the kitchen. I already know.
With the
I
center island.
already know the amenities that have to be at the top of the list just from doing this show. I already know the kitchen has to have a dope island, right?
That's
You're
right.
probably more of an electric stovetop dude.
No, I like that. I like that.
You like the gas, so that
That's
means
right.
you're gonna have a nice hood over the stove.
That silver one you see on
Yeah.
Chef Ramsay.
Yes. 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 And I already know now your walk-in has to be incredible.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, you got to have your cereal stacked up on one side. Oh man, my mother has to have about 500 seasonings, bro.
That's right. From the
Like
old days to the new days.
when I grill over there, I get confused on how I want to how I want to season the meat. I just get
That's right.
confused. I don't know what I want to do.
What direction do I want to go today?
Like, how do I want to cook
It's like
this?
an artist going in there. You got every color available. What color would you? I got every color available. How am I gonna paint this picture?
Now, are you gonna make your island with the storage? See, I like the islands that have the storage in it with the electrical outlets.
The one with
Multi-purpose.
the microwave pop out of the center island kind of thing.
That's now you can't have that. That's dope. That's dope. Or the ones where you can hide the garbage can
That's right. That's
inside
right.
one of the
They
compartments.
always hit you. Where the garbage can at? The guests always hit you with that. That's how you know you
Right.
got a nice house.
Mm-hmm.
You know you got a nice house when when the guests got to be like, where the garbage can at in the kitchen? Oh, you got to pop that door.
Right. Pop that door.
You got to
It
pop the
comes
door
out.
on the side, and they be like, which one? Because that's architecture. You
Yeah.
know,
I'm more of a marble countertop than granite. But
a marble top.
yeah, I like marble tops. Granite
That's right.
countertop is good too, though.
Okay.
Now check this out, Left. This I know you might, man. This is something that made my heart sing. Because I'm sitting here looking at the snow, and you brought it up at the start of the show, and you asked how I was feeling with the snow, and I'm miserable, Left. I'm a Chicago kid, so I could deal with the snow. I can deal with the snow. See, my wife, she got home Sunday night, right? She spent the week out in LA
That's
last
right.
week, and she comes down talking about she's depressed, right? I'm
Mm,
depressed. I could have stayed a couple of more days in LA. I had to come
mm,
back to this. And
mm.
I said, the nerve.
The nerve.
I said, at least you got to go for a week. I was
That's
still
right.
stuck here in this cold.
Inconsideration.
I said, dude, you're not getting any empathy from me.
No, not at all.
None. But this made me feel better, dude, because the thing I'm missing the most is the ability to go out to the golf course, Left. That's what
Mm.
sucks. Like
That's what
people
it
in
is.
our boy said, our boy said,
Yeah, he got around in this morning, man.
yeah, it was cold, but he still went out on the golf course this week out in LA because it was still 60 degrees. He was
Still,
still able to go play.
that's
You
right.
know, so I'm watching this, man. This footage, it made me feel good. Look at this, man.
Woo!
But check this out, though.
Oh,
Yeah, it is a new product. It is a golf sweater vest that allows you to keep your arms warm and your hands warm by funneling your arms into the proper golf setup with your arms.
it's like a handicap.
Yeah,
It's like bowling with the little side things in bowling.
the bumpers.
Yeah, get the bumpers.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? This makes me feel good. I'm gonna go ahead and place an order. So once it hits 50 in Chicago, I'm on the course.
That sound like Shark Tank I was watching yesterday. They had this guitar that had the chord buttons already set up, so you would press the button instead
Mhm.
of the chord, so you learn how to play like twice as fast.
I'm with that. That sounds great.
Yeah,
Would
so
you
you play
would you
like
have invested in that?
absolutely. You have like 5 different colored buttons, and they play 5 other most basic chords that you could play songs. We play over 100 song types with. So then you start taking the buttons off, and then you over time learn the. It's pretty dope. Pretty dope. So yeah, any type of harness thing, you try to incorporate. I think it helps a lot.
Hmm.
Um, it's crazy how far training has come, and they have thought of everything to make your game twice as good. You know,
Yeah, for me, that got me excited. Because right now, yeah, left, it sucks looking out the window. It absolutely sucks to look out and see. I mean, it's going to be gone next week. That's all I can look forward to. By next Tuesday, this snow will have melted.
that's right.
And that's all you can look forward to, man. You know how it is in the Midwest. It is.
You appreciate the seasons though.
I mean, promise you, next January, next December, um, Notre Dame Stadium might be looking like Bill Stadium, where the Buffalo Bills play prior to a playoff game. That's a reality. Students might be walking through the aisles of Notre Dame Stadium shoveling the seats out.
If that's the case, we might, over the next 10 years, get a dome because in playoff
No,
games will start
people
meaning
don't
something.
people don't want the playoff game to be moved to a dome. Remember, we asked that question. We gave a poll question. People are
No,
like, no.
I'm saying put a dome over Notre Dame. That's the next step.
Oh, left. I don't know if fans would be. I don't know if they would like that, left.
Hold on, no, the Colts right down the road got one, nice one.
Oh, I agree. It's a fantastic stadium.
Man, we put one of them little retractable roofs on Notre Dame Stadium. It's one of the best places in the country. Come on, come on, man.
Left.
We put that.
You're talking to a modern man here, left. You'll get no argument from me.
And you know what my arguments would be? What about this global warming? You don't want them playoff games looking like Buffalo. You want to be nice and toasty. You bring your alumnus that donate so much in these suites. Just put a little roof over that thing.
Yeah.
You already you already got the jumbotron, so we already crossed over that long time ago. Go the whole way, man. Put that dome over the top. Make that thing. What? Then you can hang
Yeah.
banners and all type of man. Listen,
Hmm.
I'm trying to
Huh?
tell you.
Hey, let's get to the super chats before we get out of here. Left. Mike Nolan, thanks for the super chat. Easy schedule idea may change with Florida State. Reading the Bama roster must be some bag. They're not worried over NIL sanctions, apparent. Oh, he's talking about this is something that will change recruiting, right? Because of the portal, coaching changes, especially a year like this where you see Saban retire, you see Kalen DeBoer go to Alabama, you see Jed Fish leave Arizona and go to Oregon. Not Oregon, but to Washington. And then the San Jose State appears a coach seems to be the coach that's coming to Arizona. Left you remember you asked me about Fafita and McMillan
Yeah.
possibly transferring. Now they have a 30-day window to transfer, dude, as a
Where would they
package
go?
deal. I mean, do they follow their coach to Washington? Jed Fish is in Washington. Do they follow Jed Fish is in Washington? Do they follow him to Washington? Or do they try to hold out for more NIL money and go elsewhere? I got a couple of nice Chicago condos, some free pizza year round, and some other things. If they come to the University of Illinois, I'll hook them up real nice, Left. I know that's not as enticing as USC and some other schools, but yo, I think that combo will be pretty well liked on the open market, if you will.
That's nice, a little package deal. We haven't seen that.
Yeah,
College
but
football.
recruiting changes now, dude. It's just as important to be second as it is to actually get a commit from a kid,
Next
because you're
is
gonna,
going to be brothers committing together, package deal brothers, all that.
yeah. And no, Florida State's not worried about sanctions. The sanction really came about from the coaching staff making a mistake. I don't think anything in the report said that the NIL is separate from the school. The coaching staff and administration and their mistakes connected the school to the NIL collective. So I don't think the NIL collectives and the alums that are part of the collectives, I don't think they care about the sanctions that are coming. And since Florida State worked with the NCAA to kind of negotiate the sanctions, I don't think it's really going to be anything truly devastating. And then you saw Mike Norvell get the deal that he got. Was that 8 years for like 10 mil a year or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Thank you for that, Mike. Truman Dumel, thank you for the super chat. Is there any Alabama kids we can seriously flip?
I mean, I don't know.
Nah. I don't think Notre Dame was second, really second. I mean, it's a pipe dream that if Keon Keeley decides to jump into the portal, that maybe he comes to Notre Dame, but you're definitely not getting Caleb Downs, who has been open to saying he's going to look at how they construct the defensive staff before he decides to jump in the portal. I think there are a lot of defensive guys that Alabama choosing, but most of that, Travarius Robinson, who came from the defensive staff at Alabama, he went to Georgia. So if defensive guys do jump in the portal, I expect them to hit up Florida State. I expect them to hit up Georgia, and to go where the guys that recruited them to Alabama ended up. Wouldn't be shocking to me. And it's not shocking that the offensive players from Alabama, like Isaiah Bond, end up at places like Texas. Another one from Truman Dumel is there. Oh, he sent it to us twice. Well, thank you for the double super chat, my brother. Appreciate you, man. Prayers for you as a Jets fan as well. GTP question from Josh Buffo, the motivational business banker. In your opinion, Left, is Leonard better than 10? If yes, I think we are a deep playoff team. What's your thoughts? Love the lucky Lefty. Thanks, Josh. Is Riley Leonard better than 10?
I don't. I mean, I don't know. I think. I think Riley Leonard will have a better chance to get better and change his narrative more than Sam did. But if this is based on just taking both out of the portal, I would choose Sam if it was all even before we saw what Sam did. If it was everything even and it was just who you want, Sam or Riley out the portal, they both coming out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the paper, I would probably choose Sam. So until Riley, well, hell, I'll probably choose Jack Cohn.
I mean, but that's going based upon what he did.
Yeah, that's based on what he did. So right now, is based on the paper, Sam wins. Based upon play so far, Jack Cohn is still holding on the title.
It's crazy because it seems like they're totally different players, but as far as production, if Riley Leonard could come in and do what Jack Cohn did, It
Right.
seems like you would be very happy with that.
Yes. If he can just and Jack Cohn played right in the pocket where he's supposed to, of coming in, having a good attitude, working with what he's given, made the most out of it, and then got rewarded, in my opinion, at the end, and he made a good job of it. So if Riley Leonard can have any impact like Jack Cohn did, then we win that trade.
All right. Lucky Lefty podcast. Great
And
show.
he wasn't necessarily the star. He was a big contributor, but it was a Kyron-led team. Nobody had a mistake about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Great show today, Left. Appreciate everybody that jumped in, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. Don't forget YouTube, subscribe, share, hit the like button, notification bell, all of that, man. When we go live, you'll know. It's a Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different. You know what time it is, Left.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty
Well, we did a good job executing. Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you. You don't? No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petticoat Junction.
Petty Junction, Petty Story today brought to you by ONORA Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. Left, you'll like this, man, because this irritated me to my soul. Check it out. What you're watching right there, ladies and gentlemen, is LeBron James checks out the game. He comes to the bench. He's sitting on the bench. He's putting on his shooting shirt. And a fan literally had access to walk up to him and put his arms around him. I know the NBA, and one of the biggest sales is the access that fans has to players, the close proximity to the bench that you can have. That's not safe, man. And that wasn't cool. Everybody on that security staff at Crypto needs to be put on notice. LeBron James needs to walk into the front office today and say, if that ever happens again, I want everybody fired. There's no way.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
100%.
Man, that man could have had a small, he could have done anything. I'm not saying that the fan who was escorted out and thrown out of Crypto last night, he could have had all types of evil intentions, man. You never know.
It could have been over just that quick.
Just that quick, man.
And then, I mean, it could have really been something crazy. Just the fact that it was just so easy to do. Like, dang, like in the middle of the game, you would have thought that would have been the most,
Bro, it was that was horrific for me, Left. Horrific. No one should ever get that close to LeBron James, man. Not on the court.
Not in that way, man. That could have been bad, man.
I'll take a step further. No one should ever get that close to any NBA player on the court. But especially the face of the league. No. That's man. I don't know if you remember this, dude. Do you remember the young tennis star, Monica Seles, that got stabbed in the back because they allowed a fan to come out of the stands during a tennis match?
Damn.
And she was never the same. She was a rising star, bro.
Somebody had jumped out on her and stabbed her?
Yeah. Stabbed her in the back. It was 1993 over in Hamburg, dude, at a WTA event, dude. She was playing against Steffi Graf and was stabbed in the back, dude. She was like number one, number two in the world, dude. She was never the same. Forget physically, because I'm sure physically she could get back. Mentally,
She was probably scared about winning. Somebody just might.
dude.
Damn.
That's like playing basketball in the public league in Chicago when you literally have gangsters on the sideline telling you we're gonna shoot the bus up if you make this free throw. Like that's true stories. At schools like Dunbar, DuSable, when they play each other. Man, something needs to be said. Adam Silver cannot let this be something that is just, oh, it just happened. No, my man. No. You need to be on a Zoom call or a conference call with every arena and every owner today. That was unacceptable. That can never happen again. Ever. And I don't know what the dude said, but whatever he said, you saw the response of LeBron James. Like, dude, he probably asked him to sponsor something. Look, the dude probably just took his shot, right? Like, man, let me pitch this to LeBron. He took his shot. But yeah, you cannot. Crypto Arena, Lakers, everybody. Come on, so we can punch a ticket on the petty train. That cannot happen, man. That is a bad look for the NBA. On the same night left, I don't know if you saw this, the footage of Russell Westbrook when they were on the road in Minnesota. He was being heckled by some fan. He said something about you suck at basketball, which I don't know how somebody that's a Hall of Famer, has a Hall of Fame career, can suck at basketball. So that shows you what the fan knew. And Russ turned around and told him, hey, come on, come say that right here. The fan actually walked down, but he wasn't allowed to come to where Russ was because security stopped him. Like, no, bro, you can't go any further than this.
I don't know if there's a real way to really curb it though.
First of all, Lakers security should have someone on the end of the bench at all times, left. Forget stadium security. Lakers. Dude, what's his name? Big Jerome, that was Shaq's security. Go look at the footage. That dude was right next to Shaq on the bench at all times.
I mean, he really ran up there and hugged LeBron like on some like.
Just flat out hugged him, man. Hugged him.
I don't get that, man.
Like, you can say what you want about me. For some reason, Russ is just extra sensitive. I'm kind of like that. You can say what you want. As long as my check clears, I care less what you say about me from the stands. Could care less. I'm gonna go out here and play basketball and have fun and go home to my family. But we start having fans that can literally walk up to players and hug. That's too much. That's too much. All right, Left. Anything else
Yeah,
you want to
that's
say?
about it.
That's about it, man. Great show, man. It's so easy to talk 2 hours about Notre Dame football, bro. That's crazy.
Right. That's right.
That's crazy. Have a podcast, Spotify. Go lock in Lucky Lefty Podcast. For Left, Sean Davis, man, have a great Tuesday. Make sure you continue to spin it different.